Hello, welcome to the Minority Report. My name is Walter.
My name is Chief.
In this episode, I wanted to talk about something. I came across an exchange online where it was essentially on an Instagram post that's about I don't know if you guys watch Elites, this Spanish show that has become such a hit on Netflix, and there's a point where Guzman, one of the characters, who loves a Muslim girl. So they love each other. He's Christian, she's Muslim, but they can't be together because, well, of their varying ethnicities and religion. And so he's angry and he's venting to another character who's named Valerio. And then he says something, and Valerio makes a snacky comment, and then he responds by saying something about how what does Valerio know about the fact that you love someone and the person loves you, but you can't be together because of the society that's doesn't want you to be together and all that. And the post on Instagram was essentially saying, this is what Guzman is saying to Valerio, and this is essentially what every LGBT person is saying to every straight person. Essentially, I mean, you guys don't get it because you can be with who you want to be, but we can't because because of the society. And so in the comment section, there was somebody who said something about how we should stop blaming society, about blaming society for our inability to be in relationships. Essentially, was saying that he, on his own part, he can just go into his house, have be with his boyfriend, lock up the door, they can do whatever they want to do, and it felt like a lot of privileged bullshits talking right there. Like, so you can be in a relationship, yay for you, but that is not exactly a relationship, because that is what is going on behind closed doors. You can't be it in.
Like, it's not something, not a way of life. It is
exactly.
It's a compromise.
And even aside from that, okay, yes, let's just say that it is something like you have enough affluence or enough enough privilege to be able to go to the malls holding hands with your boyfriend and living together without away from the prying eyes of neighbors and all that. But that is not everybody has that kind of access. Not everybody has that kind of liberty to live that freely with the people that they love and the people that they want to be with. I mean, heck, there are people who just being in the same room. Wait, I'm coming up. Even just being in the same, having a male roommate gets the suspicion of neighbors, and you are in your room, you are having sex, and you have to be all hushed up and keep quiet because there are neighbors who could be listening through thin walls, or people who are so nosy that they come through windows to check to know that's what's going on in your room and all that stuff. Like, it is there's that privilege of being with someone you care about in the way you want to be with the person. It's not.
I think even in this instance, there's only so much insulation that privilege can give you. I think even trying to rationalize it is even giving some credence to this stupid notion. Because first of all, you have whatever, you're insulated in some way from the rabid homophobia that most people experience. But still, these your relationships, how much can you do with it? Can you put this person on legal documents as your partner? Can you transfer can you transfer rights to this person if anything happens to you and say you are the breadwinner or the sole benefactor, whatever the relationship? Will this person be protected in any way in your absence? Can this person make any claim? So it's a very stupid idea.
It's as simple as if you are in the hospital and they say only family. Does the person have access to you?
So it's the notion is silly. And here's the thing, like, this is one of those instances of people beating down. Yes, you can manage and maintain relationships. That is fine. But I fail to see how the fact that you can maintain such a relationship, quote unquote, is then an argument against the necessity of having fundamental human rights. Like, how does that even work? What sort of rationalization is that? Like, where do you even begin to come with this kind of nonsense? People shouldn't fight. If you're comfortable in your closet, that is your prerogative. That's perfectly fine to you. People make the sort of argument that non-homosexuals don't have to prove anything and stuff. But the point is, it's not a level playing field.
Exactly.
Right?
Like,
The point is, they don't have to deal with this because their relationships, the choices that they make, aren't a constant point of conflict.
it ties to this persistent argument about coming out, where you get people who say, well, why do you have to come out? Straight people don't come out. And I'm thinking, but it's like saying somebody whose house is the outside, how is he supposed to come out into the outside? I mean,
Everybody is presumed to be straight.
It's society, exactly.
That is
the society is already his habitat. So what does he need to come out for?
Like, it's, I mean.
So there are many arguments. There are many ways you can argue for the irrelevance of coming out, but equating it to the realities of straight people is just it's disingenuous, and it just doesn't work. And that's the same thing with this, like attempting to always minimize the necessity of the equal rights for gay people by equating it to some sort of homosexual way of life. It just doesn't cut it.
And mostly, like, all of this is really a function of homophobia.
Yes.
It comes down, when cut it whichever way, it comes down to the fact that the people who make this sort of arguments do not like themselves. They are ashamed of themselves. It comes down to shame about who you are.
Because
you don't think there's anything about yourself that is worth getting some sunlight. So everything you do has to happen in the mustiness of your closet. And that's your prerogative. If that's something you don't want to challenge, that's fine. But don't use your lifestyle, because it's actually a lifestyle that you have chosen. You cannot use that to beat other people down. People who want to be able to,
or invalidate other people's struggles to actually be in the light. Now, if you want to be in the darkness, that's fine. I mean, just don't make it the narrative for everyone else, or to bring it up
of any sort,
or even to bring it up in conversations that are talking about the recognition of equal rights, or that are accusing homophobia for what it is. You just don't do that. Like, basic human rights is for everyone. The right to be, the right to live, the right to congregate, the right to love, the right to live. This is what everyone should have, gay or straight.
Without question.
Without
any form of rationalization. These are things that everybody should have access to. And I think what even annoys me a bit about this sort of argument is the uppityness that these people tend to pose with. Like, this is inferiority complex masking itself as a feeling of superiority. Like, where do you even get off? The argument is, why would I bother about what straight people think and blah 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 blah. But it's so disingenuous and so dishonest. And I understand that need to catch yourself in lies in order to justify your own choice.
The ironic part of this is in trying to eschew in trying to eschew this tendency to pander to straight people, in trying to say, well, why do I need to think about gay people and straight people when I can just live my life the way I choose? That sentiment is ultimately pandering to straight people.
And how do you even live your life the way you choose when you have such limited options? How do you make choices in the absence of choice?
Every time you can see a straight person come home and hug his wife or his girlfriend in the full glare of the people that are around, and you can't do that, you are not living your life the way you want it. Every time you see someone make decisions about his kids, and you can't even have the children, but you want them, you are not living your life the way you want. Every time your brother, your cousins can bring partners to, for Christmas at the end of the year, to the dinner table for mommy and daddy to meet, and you can't do that.
Going far.
You are not living your life the way you want.
When you introduce your lover, or your partner,
As your roommate,
as your cousin, as your roommate, as your friend from around the way. Like,
you are not living your life the way you want.
it's a
Dress it
compromise
up
to live in.
dress it up anyhow you want. Make it, try to package it in any way you want to make sense to you. Ultimately, you are not living it the way you want. You are still conformed to the homophobic gaze of the society, and as long as there is that condescension, there is that negation of equal rights, well,
And it's great, just tell yourself whatever it is you need to live with yourself. But please, when these conversations about rights are being had, just shut up. Take your issues to your therapist's couch. We don't need to hear all that nonsense in public spaces. Just be quiet. Carry your shame. Wear it like a badge and move. Don't take your own choices, the choices you've made to be comfortable with shame. Don't use that as to club other people over the head with. Don't make that into some sort of roadmap that everybody should take, and make something that's, when it comes down to it, that is actually really sad, into this. There's really no window dressing for this thing. Cut it any which way, it still comes down to shame. It still comes down to internalized homophobia, and it's really sad. So you have our sympathies. Thank you very much.
With such heartfelt sympathies for such people, we are going to call this episode to an end. My name is Walter.
And as you come in next time, my name is Chidozie. Be good.
Bye.
Bye.